Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the opposition team is speaking. My name is Rizky Avancha, and you can call me Evan. So, imagine you are a person who are learning about history, but you find it that the books is not easily you cannot easily understand the content in that book because of there is too much information that are not reliable. Of course, it makes you difficult and need to do more research, more searching or something, or even asking another person to knowing about some topics or knowing about some moments in that history textbook. And what I'm talking right now is correlated with the motions we are debating today, that in post-conflict states, example Croatia, post-civil war, regime change, and colonialism, is this house believe that textbooks should focus on teaching bottom-up historiography rather than top-down historiography. And let's jump to my rebuttal to the first speaker of the proposition team. The proposition team is mentioning that it is easier to validate the citizen or ordinary people to searching and collecting some information about moments in the specific moment, which is it's really hard and difficult to collecting the information from the citizen or the ordinary people because they may be not having not having a lot of crucial information about something, and also it's not quite accountable. Let's say if they just know something a little bit and they over explain it and over clarifying some moments, which is it's not accountable at all to collect or validate informations from the citizens or any ordinary people that may be involved in that conflict or in that moments. Also, the first speaker of the proposition team is not quite elaborating or even explaining how the mechanism of the how they will apply the bottom-up approach into the historiography. And that's why me as the opposition teams is suggesting the mechanism from our POV. Our mechanism is the government should searching the accountable source or proof and then write it in textbooks with the transparent information guaranteed, helped by experts to make sure that informations that are written in that books is accountable. It is easier and much more accountable rather than validating the history towards the ordinary people or even a people that are like a troops or something that are involved in that war or conflicts, but they don't have some strategy or even more crucial informations rather than their leaders. So let's jump to my first argument. There is a theory named a great man theory. That theory is analyzing the great leader in some era. The great leader is known because of their status, power, and also the impacts for the society they rule or they have do something in that society. So historians can researching and studying the history easier. and it's correlated with the top-down approach where that approach is viewing an era in history by analyzing the impact of the influence by the impactful person or great leader or great person in that era. It also makes people easier to understand the history, and also it's not over simple and not focusing only in one person perspective, because of course if we researching by the famous people or famous or even impactful person, of course we need to deep down and research it deep down into what kind of strategy, what kind of skill they have, what kind of memorable moments they have, what kind of important moments that are reflecting the whole country or etc. And we must consider the impact of them, of the society they rule or society they do something. And let's jump to my second argument. It's when we apply the top-down approach is more systemic and also preventing unreliable resource, and also it makes sure that the researcher is exploring it deeper about the impact of how the impactful figure impacting the areas or the country specifically. Also, it's the figure who are impactful, it is reflecting the characteristic of the society they rule, of course. Let's say a leader is leading troops in a war, of course their commands is reflecting how the troops they are commanding. And also it's having more accountable sources rather than the bottom up, because it's already having a lot more of accountable proof, such as letter, script, and sometimes books or even any other proofs. They are so crucial, so people needs to know that. And of course, if we searching the famous person, it's reflect. If we analyze the famous person, it's reflecting their whole system and strategies, which is more important to talk to people in that country. And also, let's come to my third argument, which is it can protect the heritage and collective memory and identity. The government must consider what kind of information that give benefits, such as important moments, so people can learn more and memorize that moment, so it becomes a good heritage or any memorable moment that represents the country. And that's why we, as a opposition team, beg you to oppose this motion. Thank you.